Welcome to this live stream with me, Manil, here on Unacademy's YouTube IELTS channel. Now, for those of you who already know me, I am an IELTS trainer who's been training for IELTS for a while, right? I'm sorry, for those of you who don't know me. I'm sure some of you do know me, right? Who've been taking classes with me on Unacademy or who know me from other places as well. So, the whole idea of conducting this class for you here today is that we give you a good idea into exactly what do we teach, how do we teach, and how do we help you prepare when it comes to preparing for your IELTS test on Unacademy's Plus platform, right? So Unacademy Plus is a platform that sort of guides you, that helps you prepare for your test through live streamed lessons. So it is very similar to this setup over here, right? So you can see me speaking with you, you can see me teaching you everything. There's a whiteboard, sort of a PPT presentation whiteboard setup where I can make notes for you, teach you all the concepts, and take you through the preparation of the test itself. All right, and then to go with that, we also allow you to chat with us while all of this is going on. So if you have any questions, any doubts, anything that is in your mind that you feel needs to be cleared, you can ask us then and there itself. And of course, I will try my level best to answer those questions for you. Another thing very interesting about Unacademy Plus with the live stream lessons is, particularly in the writing section, you can write your answers on a piece of paper or on your cell phone or on your laptop, wherever. Take screenshots or take photographs and you can share those with us. You can share those with me and I also review those for you, right? So all in all, what it does is it really helps you prepare for the IELTS test. Now, I know IELTS is an examination that a lot of you are putting a lot of effort into because some of your life's ambitions, dreams, and probably your career path, right, depends on you doing well for your on your IELTS test. Now, IELTS as a test is a very expensive test which involves paying a fees of about 13,500 rupees. And we all want to appear for the test just once, right? Appear for the test, get your band score, and move on, right? We don't want to be, I mean, look, I'm sure nobody here wants to do a thesis, write a thesis, and then get a PhD on IELTS itself, right? I don't think anyone who's coming here is interested in doing so. So Unacademy Plus, my course on Unacademy Plus helps you achieve that goal, right? One attempt, get your score, move on. Okay, so today's lesson, the lesson that I've set up for you today, focuses on the calculation of the band scores for your writing section of the IELTS test. Now, why am I doing this? Why have I set up this class? Okay, so I need to go a little deeper than just explain what band scores are and everything. It's been what, about 3 years that I've been teaching full time for IELTS now, and I have come to this one conclusion that everyone in India is obsessed with vocabulary, right? Everyone thinks मैंने इतने शब्द रट लिए तो मेरे IELTS में नंबर आ जाएंगे, okay? मैं ये वाले 10 वर्ड्स रट लेता हूँ या फिर मैं ये वाले 20 वर्ड्स रट लेता हूँ, मेरे को टास्क 1 के लिए these are the words I need to know. If I know these, that's it, job done, right? And trust me, that is absolute nonsense. That is truly not how you score well on your IELTS test. Okay, vocabulary is just one little part towards your IELTS test. Now, unluckily, over the years, the way our examinations in India are set up, right? The way some of the people who are dealing with IELTS on social media have set up the test. It seems as if you need to memorize a lot of vocabulary, and once you know some rich, heavy words, you're sorted, right? You're on your way. And that is very far away from truth. Okay. Now, why am I making this claim? Why am I making this claim? Why am I telling you that this thought is wrong? The reason for that is because I have gone through the IELTS process myself. All right, I have appeared for both the general training test as well as for the academic test. On both occasions, I scored band 8.5. Right. Now, the thing is, I don't use very heavy or rich vocabulary. In fact, even if you attend my classes or you speak with me on a regular basis, you will realize that my vocabulary is absolutely run of the mill. Run of the mill means everyday vocabulary. Okay, vocabulary that we use in our general conversations and vocabulary that we probably use to keep stuff easy, to keep life simple, right? Yet I have scored band 8.5. My speaking was 8, right? My writing was 7.5, but the reason for that was I wrote 450 words on my task 2 on both academic and general training, which is a big mistake. Found out about that a lot later, so probably would never repeat that mistake. But nonetheless, I mean, that being said, I still scored a band 8.5 overall. My reading was absolutely up to the mark. My listening was, of course, 9 again. Reading was 9. Listening was 9. So I can vouch for it that having gone through the journey, the IELTS test is nothing about memorizing a few words and then appearing for the test. Okay. Unluckily, so how did this myth establish itself? See, what happens is, for your TRF report, the final report that you receive from the IELTS site, it has its comments against whatever you've written, right? So let's say if you scored a band 7 on your speaking, it will say on the right hand side in the comments, probably you need to link your ideas a little more, and then that you should use a little more formal vocabulary and this and that. So what they are trying to tell you is that to elevate yourself from band 7 to band 8, you need to do this much more, and then from band 8 to band 9, you need to go so much more, right? That doesn't mean that you have to suddenly start memorizing all of the most complex words that you see in a dictionary. What they mean to say is that probably there are places where you used words which could be replaced with words which are a little more relevant. Relevant. Please pay attention to the keyword here. The keyword is relevant. Not that the words that you used for a band 7 answer were not relevant, but probably they were not the most accurate. And that is why you need to probably just up your game a little on that front. You probably need to have a slightly more formal approach to your responses. And those are the kind of things that you're talking about. So what we are going to do is, in this lesson, we will now exactly understand how is it that your writing scores are calculated, so that once you understand that, you stop preparing for things that you don't need to prepare for. You stop memorizing vocabulary just because somebody put up a video saying that, memorize these 20 words, memorize these 5 words, memorize those 40 words. Stop doing so. Understand what is it exactly that you need to do, and then prepare for your test. Right? So that way you're bound to score a lot better. Okay. So let's start off with writing task 2. We'll come to task 1. There is a very there's one fundamental difference between marking for task 1 and marking for task 2. So we look at both the tasks individually. Let's begin with task 2, right? So band score calculation. Achha, by the way, to people who are watching, if you have any questions, along the path, feel free to ask me. I'll be very happy to answer those for you, right? So band score calculation for task 2. So what happens? For the band score calculation for task 2, there are 4 parameters along which they give you a score. The first one is task response. Now we look at each of these in detail, right? Task response. Then they have the coherence and cohesion. Then they have lexical resource. Well, everyone seems to know what lexical resource is, but nobody seems to realize that it's only one of 4 things here, right? And the 4th is grammar, range, and accuracy. All right. So these are the 4 parameters along which they calculate your band score eventually. All right. Now each of these carry 25% of your marks. So what do I mean by they carry 25% of your marks? What they do is they give you a score out of band 9 on each of these 4. Right? So let's say you score a 6 on task response, 7 on coherence and cohesion, 7 on lexical resource, and 8 on grammar, range, and accuracy. Now what they'll do is they'll add 6, 7, 7, and 8. So that comes up to 28, and then they will divide it by 4, giving you a net band score of 7. So that is how your band score is calculated. So there is a 25% weightage for each of the 4 sections. Now let's understand what each of these mean in detail. What is task response? Well, task response is how do you, so the question that has been asked, how did you respond to that question? Okay, so the very first thing, did you write minimum 250 words? So task response means one, that you followed all the instructions that have been set out for you. So first thing first, you've written minimum 250 words. If you've written less than 250 words, in most cases, they will restrict your score overall for task 2 to 5.5. Okay, they will not give you more than 5.5 for writing less than 250 words. Next, have you included an example or an experience or a personal experience, right? That is what they ask you for. All right. Then the third thing they check is whether you have answered the questions or not. Which means, see, let's say you're looking at an opinion essay, right? So they're asking you for your opinion, all right? Or if you're looking at an agreement or disagreement essay, whether you have clearly stated whether you agree or disagree with the statement or not. If they've asked you for advantage, disadvantage, have you clearly stated what are the advantages or disadvantages, whichever way you go, whether you go only advantages or whether you go only disadvantage, whichever way you go, right? Or if you take a middle path, have you clearly stated that? If not, that again is a big issue, right? Again, if you do not answering the questions is again another reason for which they may restrict your overall band score to 5.5. Okay, so do not end up missing out on that. So a lot of people, what they do is, of course, they answer the whole essay, they write everything well, but they forget to categorically state, in my opinion, or I opine, or whatever is the sentence structure you want to go with, right? You have to very clearly mention this is what is happening. All right, this is what I believe, or this is how I agree, or this is what I feel are the disadvantages. Next, they also look at whether you have written to the topic. All right, in sense, not that they're going very deep into, it's like what they want to know is whether you haven't written off topic. Okay, although I think what we'll do is we'll leave that out from here. We'll keep it more, we'll understand it better under coherence and cohesion. Now, anyway, so answered the question or not. Finally, another thing that they look at is the points that you raised. Have you developed them? Now, what does this mean? See, a lot of people will raise a point. Okay, so for example, in your opinion, what are the advantages of setting up a nuclear power station? Let's say the question states, certain people feel that nuclear power is, that nuclear power, government should not invest in nuclear power, while others disagree. In your opinion, what are the advantages or disadvantages of using nuclear power? Now, I'm getting very technical. You won't really get this kind of a question in the examination, right? That's a very technical question. But nonetheless, let's say you come across this. So you say, fine, in my opinion, there are only advantages of setting up nuclear power stations to provide electricity for the nation. And then you go on. So in my opinion, the first advantage of this is that it will provide us with affordable electricity, because affordable electricity, and that's it. You finish your story over there. You do not develop this point. You don't go into the details as to why you say this, how is it that it will help you. You do not support it with any examples or anything. That is a bad response. So what a lot of people tend to do is they end up giving a lot of reasons, a lot of advantages, a lot of disadvantages, but they do not explain any of those. And that is a very, 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 very bad thing to do. You may list 100 advantages, and yet you will not score over band 6, 6.5, 7. Under no circumstances would you score a band 7 if you do not develop your points. So instead, what is better is that you pick up certain number of points and then you explain those. Now, exactly what format should you follow? the exact format for your response is something that I explain in my Plus course, right? So this Monday is when my writing course starts. It's scheduled for Monday to Friday from 7:30 to 8:30 in the evening. This course is for both academic and general training people, because task 2 is common for both the tests. It's only task 1, so there is one session which is dedicated to academic and one session which is dedicated to general training, right? Other than that, all classes are common. So I would recommend that you move over to Unacademy Plus, right, after attending this demo session today, and register for that session, right? It's very affordable to study on Unacademy Plus. The fees for a month of studying on Unacademy Plus is 2,700 rupees. But if you use my code IELTS by Manil, right, this is the code, it will give you a 10% discount. All right, so this 10% discount will now make your fees for 1 month 2,430 rupees. Now the beauty is, in this 2,430 rupees you can attend all the classes that I conduct within that month. Not just my classes, you can attend classes with all other educators who are teaching for IELTS on Unacademy Plus, and you can attend as many sessions as you want within that month. All right, so it is probably the most affordable preparation that you can go through for your test anywhere in India, right? Practically nobody gives you IELTS prep for a month at this amount, and that too with as many classes as you wish to attend, with as many people as you wish to attend. All right, so I would recommend that you definitely come over to Unacademy Plus. Once again, when registering, come use the code IELTS by Manil. See, what you should do is download the app and come look for me on Unacademy Plus, on the app itself, right? Even if you do not register for Unacademy Plus, download the app. Why? Because see, on the app itself, we have uploaded, I and other educators have uploaded a lot of videos that you can watch. And to top it off, we keep doing these weekly sessions that everyone is allowed to attend. All right, everyone can join those lessons, everyone can join those sessions and study with us in those sessions. And then if you feel like it, from there, if you think that Unacademy Plus is the right platform for you to go study on, then from there you could shift to that platform very easily. All right, so once there, look for me, right? You'll be able to find me by looking for Manil Agarwal. All right, that's my full name. So download Unacademy's app, right away. I mean, after the session, after you watch this video. So download the app, registration is absolutely free, watching those videos is absolutely free, attending those special classes is absolutely free. And from there, come hop on to our Unacademy Plus courses. All right, so there, like I said, on the Unacademy Plus course, I teach in detail the format that you should follow while appearing for the IELTS test. And trust me, once you understood that format, and we also practice, right? So I also ask you to write an essay and share it with me so that I can review it for you. Once you've understood exactly what to do, trust me, you will score your desired band score. But just a word of caution and advice before anything else: look, for your IELTS test, you need to know your English. If you do not know your English, you will not be able to do well, come what may, right? And which is exactly why I am explaining how the band scores are calculated, okay? So that you know what you need to know when you're learning, learning and understanding your English, all right? So that's one. So this is task response. Next is coherence and cohesion. So what is coherence and cohesion? Coherence means that whatever you've written is logical. It makes sense. You can't but just be writing anything randomly and then saying, oh, you know what, grammatically it is correct, right? Grammatically it is correct, English is correct, so now it is, you have to give me full score. That is not how it works. It has to be logical. It has to be related to the topic at hand. All right, by related I mean not just like random relation, a borderline relation. Like it should be bang on discussing the topic at hand. Okay, so related to topic at hand. All right, so it has to be logical, related to the topic at hand, and then it has to be sort of cohesive. What do I mean by cohesive? Cohesive means, see, whatever points you are raising, okay, one, they are sort of course associated with the topic at hand, and also they kind of support each other, or that they are supporting the main points that you have raised. You can't be like, okay, I randomly wrote one sentence in this direction, and then again this sentence is also related to the topic at hand, but it is not clearly associated with it. Okay, so that linking has to be very clear. So your points are linked. Now this is extremely important, and I know a lot of you keep going, oh, please teach us linkers, please teach us linkers, please teach us linkers, right? Linkers have been eating my head for the past 200 years, right? And I can understand, of course, right? Because but once again, it's not just about memorizing words, it's about understanding what to do. So please understand what each these linkers are also what we call conjunctions. Some of the adverbs are also something that some of the adverbs also act as linkers, right? They help you connect two different ideas in certain ways, right? So you need to understand which linker helps you associate ideas in what way, right? Is it correct to link those ideas in that manner or not? So all of these things are very important, and for that you need to know your grammar, right? You really need to know your grammar. A lot of people, I keep saying this, I keep repeating it. I mean, right from the beginning of the class, I've been saying it. A lot of people just memorize words without realizing, without understanding that at the end of the day, unless your sentence and your sentence structure are correct, those words will not matter. You can't be like suddenly, okay, if in the speaking test somebody goes like, if the examiner says, tell me a day when you found that the weather was not your liking, right? So you can't be like, oh, there was this one day when the weather was very bad, it was raining, and though it was not mesmerizing, just because you memorized it of one of the videos, you can't be like, oh, I have to use the word suddenly and without any reason I have to use it in. Even though it was not mesmerizing, then the next thing that the examiner is now expecting is that you suddenly say, but it was pleasant nonetheless, right? So it wasn't all that great, but it was happy. It was still a good weather to deal with. So you got to be careful. You can't just memorize words and throw those at the examiner. I mean, I've had this happen to me in classrooms, right? People coming in and walking in and they suddenly just use this word. I'm like, why? Oh no, because you know what? We've watched a video in which they have taught these 20 words, these 5 words, these 3 words that you should use in the test. Well, yes, you should use them on the test, that is if it is required. Okay, so likewise with linkers as well, you can't just randomly start using the word consequently. I've seen a lot of people use the word consequently as well without really understanding what it does. How does it operate? What kind of ideas does it link in what manner? Okay, so know what you're doing. Don't just randomly memorize. I keep saying this. I'll keep saying this over and over again. All right. Keep saying this over and over again. So this is what coherence and cohesion means, which means logical. Whatever you've raised is relevant to the topic at hand, and that all the points that you've raised within a paragraph, right? Of course, 2 paragraphs may not necessarily be linked with each other, but everything within a paragraph is linked to each other and is sort of supporting each other, right? So that is how that works, which is why again I say the format is very important. If you understood the format, you'll then be able to understand how to, then you'll understand how to make sure that your whole paragraph is cohesive, and then eventually the whole essay is cohesive and coherent, all right? So come learn that format with me. Fine, then we come to the lexical resource. Now I know you already know what the lexical resource is, right? But let's pick it up again. So the first thing is vocabulary. Vocabulary is of course all the words, right, that you need to know for your test. Again, for your lexical resource, the vocabulary has to be relevant, right, and accuracy, right? It's relevant and accurate would pretty much mean the same here in terms of vocabulary, right? But it has to be relevant. If your vocabulary is not relevant, if you're unnecessarily just trying to use words which are rich, complex, heavy, the examiner will deduct marks, right? Why? See, you've been doing well. So let's consider it this way, right? You are a band 6. Let's say you're a band 6 test taker, right? You have been very consistent. You've been 6, 6.5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 5. So you've been fluctuating in that band, that range of one band, all right, 5.5 to 6.5, but mostly at 6. And then suddenly, to try and push your band score up to 8, you decide to throw a word which is like a word like reconciliation. Okay, that's the first word that came to my mind. I mean, I don't know why, but or let's say rambak. proclivity, or say something like obnoxious. All right, these are the kind of words you suddenly start throwing at the examiner. But the examiner is like, why is he using these words here? Clearly the person has no, why she or he is using these words here. Clearly they have no clue what they're talking about. All right, so memorized words, no idea, reduced band score. Now overall band score drops to 5.5. Right? Why? Because suddenly the examiner is like, no, this person has no clue, has average understanding of the language. Slowly the score is now dropping towards 5. Why? Because you repeat it again at some other stage in the test. So how now what is happening is, you probably a student looking to study abroad. Right, you're a student who's looking to study abroad. You need to score overall 6.5. Let's say you want to go to Canada, right? You have to score an overall of 6.5 with a minimum of 6 on each of the 4 bands. End of story. Because your speaking has now dropped to 5. You have to take the test again. Money wasted, time wasted, heart broken, right? You promised your girlfriend, look, I'll go abroad, I'll earn money, I'll marry you, I'll bring you. Now your like girlfriend's like, look, dude, forget marriage. You can't even, score well on a simple test as simple as IELTS. And I say this, right? I say this. The IELTS test is the easiest test on this planet. तो शादी तो छोड़ो, गर्लफ्रेंड भी छोड़ के चली गई, है ना? पापा मम्मी कह रहे हैं शादी करा दूंगा, शादी करा देंगे हम, है ना? And you're like, नहीं, मुझे पढ़ने जाना. And just because you wanted to throw these 5 words at the examiner, शादी हो गई. Right? So think, right? Think logically, understand how this is being calculated. Right? Now consider this: 25% is lexical resource, of which vocabulary is just one thing. I've only just started. All right, vocabulary is just one thing. Then there is paraphrasing. Paraphrasing is a part of lexical resource, your ability to paraphrase. Right? So on the test, it is expected that you will paraphrase the question that has been asked of you, and then you'll be able to. I welcome to the lesson. So it will be great if you could tell me your name. And I'm so sorry, so many other people joined in the past as well, but I never said hello to anyone, and I think for that reason they left. So whoever has joined just now, if you could let me know your name and whether you're appearing for the academic test or the general training test, that will be great. Hi Pachu, welcome to the class. Excellent. So to give you a very quick roundup, I've been explaining how the band score for task 2 is calculated, right? So the very first thing was task response followed by coherence and cohesion. So we discussed these two, right? And now we are into lexical resource. And finally, we will discuss the grammar range and accuracy, right? So these are the 4 things that we've been looking at. Right now, I'm explaining in detail lexical resource. But Pachu, जो एक बात मैं बार-बार बोल रहा हूँ, I've been saying this to everyone over and over again. Everyone is too busy just trying to get this right, okay? But ये अकेली चीज नहीं है जो कि आपको आपके टेस्ट पे नंबर दिलवाएगी. Alright, this is not the only thing that will help you score well on your IELTS test. It has to be all 4 things put together. Okay, it's all 4 things put together. Excellent. All right, so from Nepal and academic, excellent, wonderful. So academic test, excellent. So now for your test, paraphrasing is very important, right? Why? Because for the task 2 question, it is expected of you that the question statement, right? Like for example, your question is, some people believe that women are much better parents as compared to men, while others believe that men are equally good, right? What is your opinion? Say that is the question that you're dealing with. So the first sentence of that question, you're expected to paraphrase and use it in your essay. So if you can paraphrase well, you get good marks for that. Okay, so you need to learn your paraphrasing. Don't worry about it. I will do a quick revision for you towards the end of the lesson. After I've finished explaining this, I will once again revise everything that I said, so you will be able to understand everything that I've explained. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, you've got 6, but you have to score 6.5. Okay, fair enough. Noted. We'll get to that. Okay, then the third thing is, if possible, you need to know your idioms. Now, this is something, even if you do not know your idioms, don't worry about it. I keep saying this to everyone. Idioms till a band 7, 7.5 answer response, idioms probably don't even matter. See, idioms is something which is very commonly used by the Britishers. Okay, it's very common for them. It is their mother tongue, right? Just in Hindi, we use muhavre. For us, it is common to use muhavres, right? For the Britishers, it's very common to use an idiom. Okay, and then so it is expected that as part of lexical resource, you would probably know idioms. But again, even on the IELTS test, they understand that a person who's scoring band 7, 7.5 will probably know very few or probably no idioms whatsoever. Okay, so don't worry about them at all. If you know one or two, and if you get an opportunity to use them. Hi, one more person has just joined. So hello, welcome to the lesson. I will appreciate it if you could tell me your name, what test, as an academic or general training, which one are you appearing for? Okay, and so that is idioms. And finally, there is something called collocations. What are collocations? Collocations are the correct combination of verb and object. Object means, just say for example, I ride a motorcycle. So for you don't drive a motorcycle, you ride a motorcycle. Okay, you don't, I am not, you're not doing maths, you're studying maths. Okay, you don't make a cake, you bake a cake. So collocations is another thing that I say focus on more, because collocations can truly help you score well on your IELTS test. How do you do your collocations? Well, there is just one way. You sort of go online. All right, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here trying to give you collocations because there are hundreds. Just go online, search Google for commonly used collocations. You'll get a whole list. Read those, right? You don't even need to like sit down and memorize those. Read those, use them in a couple of sentences. Automatically, your brain has registered those collocations, and then use those on a regular basis. So it is very important. Look, I keep saying paraphrasing is your best friend for IELTS. This is one thing I say every day in every class. Okay, why? Because paraphrasing in terms of lexical resource, within your essay, you use it 4 times. Okay, within the essay, you use paraphrasing 4 times. How to understand that? Like I say, join me for my writing course on Unacademy Plus. All right, it is starting this Monday at 7:30 for the writing course. Okay, and there I will explain the whole format, what to do, where, how. Just follow that format and you will definitely score band 7 on your IELTS test, as long as your English is up to the mark. That is one thing I keep saying over and over again. If you do not know your English properly, you can't score well on the IELTS test. Why? Because IELTS is a test of your ability to communicate using English. Okay, so that brings me to part 4, grammar range and accuracy. Now this, in my opinion, is the most important thing for you to prepare for your IELTS test. Okay, because if you are not good with your grammar, that you cannot properly form a sentence. If you cannot properly form a sentence, you cannot convey to the examiner what do you want to say. And if the examiner can't understand what you're trying to say, what will they give you a band score for, right? So learn your grammar, understand your grammar, learn your grammar. And grammar is not difficult. See, I know all our life at school, grammar, mar gaye, koi mujhe chaku do, main apna aap, that is how we've always approached grammar, right? But grammar is very simple. Okay, grammar is for IELTS, you don't need to know the whole range of grammar. Okay, I've seen people trying to learn the most ridiculous things for their IELTS test. See, the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to their IELTS test is they're trying to do everything that they don't need to, and the things that they need to, they don't do it. क्यों होता है ये? ऐसा क्यों होता है? The main reason for this is how we have been studying English from school. Right, from school. See, in India, English is not our first language. English is something you just should know, because why? Oh, घर पे कोई मेहमान आया तो बेटा इंग्लिश में गाना गा के सुनाओ, बेटा इंग्लिश में कहानी सुनाओ, right? That is why, that is the first thing. And then as you go on, अच्छा नौकरी लग जाएगी, right? और कोई entrance exam clear हो जाएगा, right? That is the primary reason for learning English. Okay, but that is not really how It works. You need to know your grammar, and if you know your grammar well, you'll be able to speak well in English. The moment you start speaking well in English, automatically your score on IELTS will improve. Okay, it is as simple as that. So grammar, what do you need to know within your grammar? You don't need to know everything, like I just said. Okay, so first thing first, of course, you need to know your sentence structures, right? Simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, compound complex sentence. Again, here also I see that everyone just wants to know the complex sentence. Nahi, aise nahi hota. You need to know your simple sentence, you need to know your compound sentence, you need to know your complex, and you also need to know your compound complex sentence. You need to know all four. Only then does it make sense. And to know and to learn how to make a compound or a compound complex or a complex sentence, you first need to know the simple sentence, because all other sentence forms are nothing but a combination of two simple sentences or three simple sentences coming together. Okay, that is it. So that is one. Then what is the next thing? You need to know your tenses. Okay, simple past, simple present, simple future, perfect tense, past present future, continuous tense, past present future. Continuous tense तो खैर everyone knows continuous tense. There is like वो तो कोई सोचने की बात ही नहीं है, right? Then you need to know your parts of speech. Parts of speech क्या होते हैं? Nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, all of those, right? Not just you need to know what is a noun, you need to know how to use a noun. See, once you understand your parts of speech, sentence is nothing but putting the parts of speech at certain places so that you can form a correct sentence. So if you know your parts of speech, you know your tenses, your sentence will automatically be correct. Okay, and then finally there's the voice, right? Voice is passive voice and active voice. But again, here also what I see is everyone's just trying to cram, memorize, and then in the tests I've heard this ridiculous thing. Okay, like, what if I use 5 complex sentences? Will I score high? Are Baba, yes, if they are correct. If they are correct and they make sense. If they are correct and they make sense, you will score high. But you can't be like, okay, I'll use 5 complex sentences and job done. See, it is range and accuracy. So these 4 things show, if you can use these, they show that you have range. You know how to form different sentence structures, and you know how to use each structure at the right place. Okay. So what is important also is accuracy. So I also keep telling my students all the time, you don't have to learn everything in grammar. We will learn that what is necessary for the IELTS test, and we will be strong at it. We will ensure that we know that properly and we are able to use it properly in the test. So if you know this, you will automatically score high on that test itself. So these are the 4 factors that they look at. So task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammar range, and accuracy. Okay, so these are the 4 things that they look at while calculating your overall band score for writing. So let's understand these again. Okay, for your sorry, one second. Okay, so for task response, you've written minimum 250 words, whether you've included an example or an experience or not, whether you answered the question asked, what is your opinion, do you agree, disagree, what are the advantages, disadvantages, have you stated those clearly or not? The points that you have raised, have you clearly developed and explained those or not? Okay, then coherence and cohesion, right? Coherence and cohesion is, 1, coherence means it's logical or not. 2, related to the topic at hand or not. You can't be just randomly picking up any point and using it as part of your answer, right? You have to have it. You have whatever you raise has to be relevant to the question asked. And finally, all the points that you've raised within a paragraph, okay, they are associated with each other. And sorry, I forgot to mention this, clear paragraphs. You have clear paragraphs in your essay, right? A lot of people end up just writing one long essay without any paragraphing. That is not good. So you have to have clear paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, how many paragraphs exactly you have to write? That is something again I explain in my format, right? Hi to the person who's just joined. Welcome to the class, right? Just let me know your name and what test you're appearing for. Okay, so clear paragraphs. That is also very, very important. All right. Then coming to lexical resource. Again, please, it is not everything. It is just 1/4 of your test, and within that there are 4 things. So vocabulary, paraphrasing, idioms, and collocations. And finally, grammar, range and accuracy. So you need to know your sentence structures, tenses, parts of speech and voice. And very important, you need to know how to make them correctly, and you also need to know when to use what. Okay, so this is how your band score is calculated for task 2. Once again, they will give you a band score on each of these 4. They will add up your score for all 4 and divide it by 4. So 25% marks for each parameter. So that is task 2. Now what happens for task 1? For task 1, it is, instead of task response, it is task achievement. Okay, so task, I'll just do one thing. I will make this slightly smaller. Okay, for task 1, this task response becomes task achievement. Why task achievement? Why? Once again, minimum 150 words. All right. Other than that, if you're doing a graph, right, you have done both summary and comparison, right? You have done both. Then this is task 1 I'm talking about. All right. If it is a letter, you have covered all the points that have been given to you to cover as part of that. And that's it. All right. That's more or less stuff. So if you're doing the graph, you've done the numbers. All right. You've included all the relevant information from the graph in your answer, or from the map, or from the flowchart in your answer. And if it's for the letter, you have sort of done your salutations and sign-offs. Hello, dear, whatever, right? Those things have been included as part of your lesson. So numbers, and for the letter, it is salutation. All right. Salutations, and here all the points. Okay, so this is what is different between task 1 and rest. Everything is the same. Coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammar, range and accuracy continue to be the same across both the tests. All right, so across both task 1 and task 2. Once again, here also they will give you a band score out of 9. They will then calculate the band score for all 4 parameters, add them, subtract them by 4. So that is how your overall band score is calculated for the IELTS task writing section. Now, so for the people who are watching, do you have any questions to ask me? Any doubts? I will then also go on and explain how to study with me for the writing test on Unacademy Plus, right? How can you get a discount while doing so? And what is it that I teach as part of the Unacademy Plus course? Okay, fair enough. So it seems there are no questions to be asked as of now. If you have any questions, just type them out. I'm looking at the comments, right? I will answer those as soon as I see those, right? So now let's understand about the course, about my writing course on Unacademy Plus, right? So once again, Unacademy Plus is a platform which is available on Unacademy. So download the Unacademy app, all right? There you'll be able to watch a lot of videos that I have recorded. You'll be able to attend a lot of free sessions with me on Unacademy itself, right? And within that app, there is also something called Unacademy Plus. Now, what is Unacademy Plus? Unacademy Plus is nothing but a platform where I conduct live streamed lessons. Okay, so you attend classes with me just like this. The setup is also very similar, right? It's just that here with YouTube, the chat is sort of on the side. There you have another box on the right hand side where the chat goes on. Okay, so those are the primary differences. That's the only difference. Otherwise, it's the same thing as over here, right? But Unacademy Plus is a paid platform. You have to pay a fees to access this platform, but it is very affordable and it is very useful. Okay, let me first explain what is my course on Unacademy Plus. So see, what I've done is I've split my teaching for IELTS into 4 courses. There's a listening and speaking course, there is a reading course, there is a writing course, and then there's a grammar course. My writing course starts this Monday. All right, it starts this Monday. The timing is 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. So that's in the evening. 7:30 to 8:30 is my lesson, and in that lesson I will cover task 1, task 2, academic general training. The course is common for everyone. The reason for that is task 2 as a question is common to both general training and academic. So of the 5 lessons, 3 lessons are for everyone, right? 1 lesson is only for academic and 1 lesson is only for general training. That's it, right? That's the only, there are only 2 classes where the classes are segregated. Otherwise it's common for everyone else. So I will teach you the format that you are supposed to follow while writing the answer. Follow that format, score your band 7 and above, go to your destination university country. Stop doing your thesis. Don't be like कि ओ मैं ऐसे ट्राई कर लूँ, मैं वैसे ट्राई कर लूँ. ये आप रिसर्च नहीं करना आए हो IELTS पे. Your job is score your band score, go to your country, go to your university, go to the country you want to go to. Okay, end the story. So that format I teach as part of the Unacademy Plus platform. That is one thing. All right, over there, after I've taught and explained how to answer the questions, I then also okay, Pachu, I just got your messages. All right, the messages have just shown up. I'll explain. All right, I'll just explain collocation. All right. I've read your comment. I'll come to that. Okay. So now, after I've explained how to do that, you can also then practice at home, right? Practice writing essays at home. Click photographs and share those with me in the class. I will review your test for you. Okay. So to join Unacademy Plus, the fees is 2,700 rupees for 1 month. Okay. If you go for 3 months, it is 6,600 rupees, right? So for those who have weak English, I recommend take 3 months. First, improve your English, then appear for the test. For those of you who already have good English, straight away you can take 1 month, right? But on top of this, if you use my code IELTS by Manil, you will get a 10% discount. Okay. So now your fees for 1 month is 2,430. And for 6 months, I think it is 5,940 rupees or something like that. All right. So this is what you end up paying for 1 month, and this is what you pay for 3 months. So I don't think it can get any more affordable than that to prepare for the IELTS test. Okay. So consider joining this course. Like I said, it starts this Monday. All right, which is the 18th. Okay. 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. in the evening. If you have any doubts, any questions, download the app, come speak to me over there. I will answer your questions. All right. Now, Pachu, to answer your question, how can you do well in collocation? I think you did not pay attention to anything I said. You are once again, you are a typical case of a person who is not doing well on IELTS because you're too obsessed with your vocabulary. I think your vocabulary, I'm sure, is up to the mark. Okay, for even a band 7. I don't know why you are so, maybe your grammar is weak. All right, and I've read your comment. You don't need to send it again, right? So what you need to do is focus on your grammar. For collocation, if you want to improve your collocation, for that the answer is Google. Why? Just go Google it. Google list of collocations, list of commonly, sorry about the spelling, commonly used collocations, right? You'll find a list, use it, read it. See, don't just memorize it. See, this is the biggest mistake that people make. People just memorize. Use it in a sample sentence. Use it, try using it in a essay that you are writing. See if it is even required or not. If it is not required, don't unnecessarily just keep using it. All right. And that is how you can improve your collocations. That is how you can learn how to use the correct set combination of verb and object noun in a sentence. So that is how you learn your collocations. And for that matter, not just collocations, that is how you learn your vocabulary as well in general. All right. So that is how that works. Any other questions? Anything else you want to ask me? Okay. All right. So if you're watching this as a published video later on in the day, probably, well, what I'd recommend is come join me once again, download the app. All right. Like I said, there are a lot of recorded videos that you can watch on the app itself. Plus, you also get to attend a lot of free lessons with me on the app itself. Make the most of those. Okay. They're very similar to these. And then from there, if you feel like it, join me for the Unacademy Plus course. Later today in the evening from 5:30, I have one more lesson here on YouTube itself. All right, I have one more lesson here on YouTube itself where I'll be discussing the band score calculation for speaking as well. Okay, so I think that is another thing that people need to understand, because without understand, most people, despite having some very good spoken ability, end up doing very badly on their IELTS test, again because they don't understand how the band score is calculated, right? And they just end up obsessing with one part of the test. So guys, I'm going to bring this lesson to an end now. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. I hope this has been a useful and a productive lesson for you. I truly hope that after having understood this, you'll stop memorizing words randomly and unnecessarily. I'll see you at 5:30 in the evening today. Until then, keep practicing and do remember that for IELTS, paraphrasing is your best friend. Goodbye.